are gladly here today. Dom, I know the StreamYard. It just was loading.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure.
We're all doing.
I'm doing great. On a fun Monday.
I'm very
Parker?
I got
tired.
a very interesting text from our fourth co-host this morning.
More like this afternoon, but
yeah, this afternoon.
definitely an interesting situation for him.
Involves another bird scooter. We don't need to go into
That man
further
is
details.
cursed by the bird scooter.
The birds are not one with Pat.
No, not at all. I am surprised that he still has his bird after the last
No,
incident.
he actually doesn't. It's sitting at Bobby's house and
And
it's
it's dead.
not charged. Yes.
I can't wait till the moment he
Can't
throws
hurt
that
him
thing out.
anymore.
Just wait. One day he's gonna be like, it happened a long time ago. I won't make the same mistake again. Just wait. It's Pat. But gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about today. We had a couple trades go down in the NFL, and we got March Madness. So I'm gonna leave it up to you two. Which do you want to dive into first?
We should absolutely talk about the Chiefs trade first.
Yes,
Hi.
we shall.
You know what? We're not going to because we're gonna talk about Matt Ryan first.
Okay, fine. That's football.
Okay.
What do you guys think of Matt Ryan being traded to the Indianapolis Colts for a third-round pick?
It's a
What do you
good
guys
move.
think?
It's a good move. I like it. I mean, they're a team that is pretty good for the remainder of that roster. And, the quarterback position was one with Mr. Carson Wentz, and it was a project. It was an experiment, to say the least. And, he can make some great plays, but he can also make some really goofy plays to make you wonder, how is this guy starting quarterback? So, a lot of back and forth, and there were some inconsistencies with that team because of that. They were a really dangerous team, one of the more dangerous teams to miss the playoffs the way they did, and kind of collapse the last couple weeks of the season. But I think pretty much everybody was in agreement that team's really talented and that they could have been a really scary team for anybody in the AFC had they been able to get into the playoffs because of what they provide. So Matt Ryan's a very good quarterback, an underrated one maybe you'd say, and he's going to come in, great run game with Jonathan Taylor you can give the ball to. Not a plethora of great receivers, but they might look to add in the draft to improve upon that to give him some more weapons. But I think that he's going to a good situation, good defense to fall back on, and I think that they're going to be a good team. I think that move and how good they are is going to get kind of lost in the AFC West and all the crazy stuff that's happened in that division, how loaded it is, and then teams like the Bills, even the Dolphins maybe. But I do think the Colts are a sneaky little team.
Dominic, over to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the Colts are in a position to help Matt Ryan succeed. The Falcons were not doing that, and especially with the news surrounding Calvin Ridley, which I don't even know if we can talk about that.
No, we did not, but it is stupid.
Right. The Falcons, they aren't really in a position to win football games right now, and they've set Matt Ryan up to consistently fail over the last several years. And for a decent amount, he hasn't failed. So now he's going to go to a team that has an elite running back, an elite offensive line, okay wide receiving pieces. Michael Pittman's good. T.Y. Hilton can still do some things. They have a good defense too. They're well coached. So I think that Matt Ryan's in a position where he can succeed. Maybe we'll see Matty Ice back in the playoffs. He hasn't been since, I believe, 2017 when they lost to the Eagles in that really tight game when the Eagles, of course, went on to win the Super Bowl. So I think that Matt Ryan going to the Colts is a good move, and you aren't going to get a whole lot back for him because he's going to be expensive after the cap hit against the Falcons this year, and he's just old, so you don't know exactly what you're going to get out of him. That's why the price tag was so low. But I think if you're the Colts, like Parker mentioned, they were in a position to win last year with Wentz. They took a chance on him. Some of his sporadicness really cost them towards the end of the year, especially in that Jacksonville game. They're not going to get as much of that with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, looking at this trade, you got to understand that the money that the Falcons are first off taking on the dead cap is insurmountable. It's ridiculous how much money. And that, like you said, Dom, is a huge reason why the price tag was so low because no team was going to take on that contract like that. And the third-round pick, I think that's a fine compensation for him. Like you said, he's on the back end of his career, and he's still serviceable. I think he's a better quarterback than Carson Wentz, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. So Colts are getting an upgrade at the position, a guy who has playoff experience, Super Bowl experience. Despite what happened in that Super Bowl, he's been there. He understands what it takes to win. He's a former MVP. I think it's a smart move, and I need to see the Colts add a wide receiver, whether it's in the draft or they go out and try to get someone off the free agent market. But Colts got some more work to do. Sorry, guys. I thought I was about to sneeze. All right. Last Wednesday was a terrible day. Let me just say it. It was a terrible day. First off, on my way to the bureau, I see the news that
Ryan.
I hate you, Dom.
Slow down, Ryan. Slow down.
Coming to the bureau last Wednesday, I see the news. Tyreek Hill and his agents have been allowed to seek a trade. I was like, oh, God, what is happening? And then the Dolphins and the Jets, of all teams, the Jets, were in on him. Wanted to make a trade for him, okay? Tyreek Hill is no longer a Chief. He was traded to the Dolphins for 5 draft picks, 1 first, 1 second, 1 fourth this year, and then a 4th round pick and a 6th round pick next year. And he signed a massive contract, 4 years, $120 million, 72 of it guaranteed, 52 of it became guaranteed at signing. So Tyreek Hill got paid, and yeah, Wednesday was a terrible day. Tyreek Hill gets traded. I had to go to Tucson with Dominic, and then I had Austin Ford wagging his finger in my face all day.
The privilege to go to Tucson.
That was just a terrible day. I was ready for that day to end at 9 a.m. I was really ready for that day to end at 9 a.m. And that was before Hill was traded. So, yeah, I'll reserve my thoughts for a little bit because I have a lot to say. But I'll throw it over to you two. Go right ahead.
Well, for me, it was a spectacular day. I mean, I can't think of better ways to start my day personally. That man's tormented us. So it's nice to not have to deal with such a good player. I mean, Tyreek Hill really is that guy. He's hands down a top 3 receiver. Where you put him in there, you can put him at 1, you can put him at 2, you can put him at 3, and I'm totally fine with it. I can listen to any argument. But either way, though, I think he's for sure in there. He's really good. The way he uses his speed, but it's not just speed with him. Yes, that is probably his biggest strength, but I think that it's kind of added attributes to how he utilizes his speed in ways other receivers don't. Because look, all these guys are fast. There's only a couple guys you can think of that just straight up aren't fast at receiver. It's a position where you have to be fast. So whether you're running a 4-2-2 or whether you're running a 4-4, you're fast. So as long as you're able to get open, he's able to jump up and get contested catches. He's a smaller guy, but he's strong. He's able to jump, get the high balls, and he's really good in special teams. And, we saw over the years with him, his role at receiver became bigger in the offense. So his role with special teams started to diminish because of that, because you don't want him to get hurt special teams play. But he's a guy that can pretty much do it all. I'm curious to see how he fits in with Miami. They have Jalen Waddle, their rookie last year, who I really like. Jalen Waddle's a similar kind of player, a lot of speed, very shifty, can make guys miss. And it's 2 really fast, similar receivers that are going to be on the field at the same time. Mike McDaniel, first-time head coach, is going to come in and see what they can do with Tua. Tua's no Patrick Mahomes, doesn't have the arm of Mahomes, and a whole lot of other intangibles. But he had a really bad offensive line last year, and I think that's part of the reason why they had to get rid of the ball so quickly. Maybe didn't take as many deep shots. I think that they've made some pretty good moves to assure that he'll have a little bit more time in the pocket to do that and to utilize those receivers that he's now going to have, because all of a sudden, just like that, after that trade, Tua's got some weapons. So I'm really curious to see how he uses them more than anything, because I think the Bills, as far as the AFC East go, I don't want to say have it locked, but like it's kind of feeling that way. But that trade definitely shakes it up a little bit. I see Miami probably being that number 2 and kind of not being too far behind them. So it makes that division a whole lot more entertaining, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. I think the AFC West is really wide open. The Chiefs, they still have Patrick Mahomes. They've controlled that division for the last several years, as long as Patrick Mahomes and even Alex Smith was the quarterback of that division. So, I mean, they're obviously going to be right up there. The Chargers were right there last year, had to prevent the Raiders from scoring on a final drive, and they're in the playoffs. The Raiders were in the playoffs. They went out and traded for Devontae Adams. The Chargers, they've also added a lot of guys on their team. And the Broncos, they finally feel like they got their quarterback in Russell Wilson. Very talented defense. Just had no quarterback play at all. So I really think that all four of these teams could realistically make the playoffs. And I mean, to be honest with you, I think three of them could definitely win the division. I'm not sure the Raiders are good enough to win the division, but I mean, any one of these teams are capable of winning 12, 13, 14 games, depending on how their schedule falls. And I think that's obviously capable of winning the division. For Miami's standpoint, they had to make sure that they get the guys to surround Tua Tagovailoa to have success. It's become pretty evident through his first 2 seasons in the NFL that he's not going to have success on his own, and that, by definition, makes you not a good quarterback.
We're just
We're
gotta
just gotta
say
say
how
how it is. And we saw in Alabama the numbers that Tua can put up, given his accuracy. If he sets his feet and throws the ball, he can throw it 40, 50 yards down the field, hit guys in stride, throw passes over the shoulder, he can make throws on the run. But when he's scrambling and when he doesn't set his feet in the pocket, Tua is Pua. He's turning the ball over instead of Tagovailoa. It doesn't roll off the tongue as well as some
You
people
tried
make it
way
out
too
to.
hard on that one.
I mean, I'm not the one that came up with it.
You still are trying way too hard.
Thanks, Ryan. So when you look at it, Tyreek Hill's going to help out in that aspect. Now, how much is he going to be able to help out? I mean, I think that's the general question. To go along with Waddle, like Parker mentioned, I think that's a dynamic 1-2 combination. They also have Gesicki at tight end, and then still have Devontae Parker at wide receiver. So you still have some firepower to go along with Tyreek Hill. And they improved the offensive line a little bit. Signed Teron Armstead, signed Connor Williams from the Cowboys. So the O-line is going to be better. I think Tua's going to have more time. New head coach that's supposed to help scheme up things. And the comparison we've also seen, given the speed and the ability to break tackles from Tyreek Hill, is Deebo Samuel, who's, of course, under Mike McDaniel in that offense in San Francisco. We'll see if Tyreek Hill can be used in that sort of way. We've never really seen Tyreek Hill take the amount of hits that Deebo Samuel had to take because Deebo was getting the ball more as he was getting carries and looks in the backfield. But I really think that's going to be interesting. And maybe they throw Tyreek Hill back in the return game as well. I mean, that would obviously be risky given the amount of money that they had to throw at him. I mean, practically his entire contract is guaranteed because almost everything's going to be converted into signing bonus after this or before this first year, and then after this first year. So, I mean, I really like this. I think Miami's trying to win, and I think they're in a position to where they can. They absolutely can. I mean, the Bills are going to win that division, but the Patriots, they're okay. I mean, I'm blanking on who's the other team that
The
the Jets.
Jets.
Oh yeah, the Jets. No. And I mean, if you're looking at it, try and go get second place in that division, win 10 games, and you're in the playoffs, and you got a shot.
All right, is it my turn? All right, so I'm going to start out by prefacing with this. This whole thing went downhill when Christian Kirk signed this deal because it drove up the price for Devontae Adams and then drove up the price for Tyreek Hill. That's where this all went. And here's the thing. Tyreek Hill wanted to be in Miami. It was obvious. He didn't want to be in Kansas City anymore. He wanted to go to Miami because he has a house there. That's where he is during the offseason. And I'm sorry, but why would you want to go from Patrick Mahomes to Tua Tagovailoa? Makes absolutely no sense to me. They're not even the same stratosphere. And everyone knows that. Tua is not – is Tua accurate? Yes. I don't think Tua is a franchise quarterback. And he's kind of proven that over the past couple of years. So I disagree with the decision from Tyreek Hill, but it's where he wanted to go. And in his press conference, his introductory press conference, he said, it was a tough decision, but when you get this much money thrown at you, your feelings change. That is what I thought was the reason, and he just confirmed it there. Why not stay in Kansas City, take a little bit less money, and win more Super Bowls instead of going to Miami, where you might not win another, and just take a little bit more money?
Everybody prioritizes different things in life, I guess.
I don't understand some athletes prioritizing money over legacy. I don't understand it.
Mansions are pretty cool.
Here's the thing: it's not
Well,
like the Chiefs
listen,
are offering like $5 million a year.
If Tyreek Hill can go and help Miami win a championship, that helps out his legacy a heck of a lot more than if he sticks around Kansas City.
It's true.
Also, let's get into.
You gonna acknowledge that or no?
Yes, but I don't think Tyreek Hill will win a Super Bowl in Miami.
I would agree.
I do not think he will.
I
I am not saying that his legacy would be tremendously boosted by that, but I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl. And here's the thing. I do not think Tyreek Hill or any NFL wide receiver is worth the money that he got. And you can say the market and all this. I don't think any receiver is worth that. And the Chiefs are using this to retool everything. And you know what? It was going to come at some point. Mahomes' deal's hidden, and you can do so much by having him move his roster bonus to a signing bonus, and it'll save a lot of money, but still, it won't clear everything. So if they want to take this year, retool, find new guys in the draft, I'm fine with it. I'm happy with it because that means they're understanding that their window is not the next 2 to 3 years. It's the next 10-plus years with Patrick Mahomes. And you know what? Brett Veach has made the right decision in that aspect, understanding that. But there's another aspect that we have to look at. At first, looking at the haul, I was not very pleased because I was thinking that if the Jets were to come in, the Jets would have offered the number 10 overall pick, which really enticed me, trying to see if the Chiefs could get a wide receiver there, maybe see if an edge rusher falls, see how the chips fall in that case. But I was very much happy with the haul after I saw what the reported haul would be from the Jets. But getting 5 draft picks for a wide receiver is crazy. You don't get that from any quarterbacks, if any. So I thought the haul was great. And here's the best part about this. In this year's draft, the Chiefs have 8 picks in the first 135 selections. Brett Veach, all you have to do is hit on 4 of those. If he can hit on 4 of those, go out, address edge. Get a young corner, maybe add a wide receiver. That's all you need. That's all you need to focus on early on in the draft. And this gives the Chiefs ways to replenish the roster with young guys on cheaper contracts. So that makes a lot of sense there too. But I'm also going to transition to something else here. Tyreek Hill will miss Patrick Mahomes more than Patrick Mahomes will miss Tyreek Hill. Let me read you some stats.
Please read us the stats from like 5 games of Patrick Mahomes.
4.5 receptions per game, 60 yards per game, and 14 total touchdowns in 33 games. Patrick Mahomes without Tyreek Hill, 347 yards per game, 102 QBR, 8 touchdowns, and 1 pick. And one of those games came when the Chiefs, it was Patrick Mahomes' first career start in Denver when the Chiefs had locked up a playoff spot back in 2017, 2018. My brain's fumbling right now. But Tyreek Hill will miss Patrick Mahomes more than Patrick Mahomes will miss him. Because here's what you have to look at. The Chiefs, it's not like the offense is going to be bad. It's going to be a very different looking offense compared to what we have been accustomed to the past couple of years. And you know what? They need to do it. Patrick Mahomes leaned on Tyreek Hill, throwing into triple coverage way too much. Retool the offense, revamp it. Give us something new. That's what the Chiefs need to do. And in response, the Chiefs went outside Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And you know what? I actually really like the signing. Deep ball threat, got a lot of speed, and got a lot of size. I think it's a good signing. But here's what a lot of people have to understand. Nobody is going to replace the production from Tyreek Hill. Nobody is. MVS is a replacement for Byron Pringle and Demarcus Robinson, who left in free agency, which upgrade by far. So that's what you have to look at in this situation. MVS is not going to replace Tyreek Hill. Nobody's going to replace Tyreek Hill. But the offense, I think, is going to benefit from this, knowing that they have to revamp and find ways to get first downs and put points on the board without Tyreek Hill. So, yeah, it hurts seeing that Tyreek Hill's not going to be a Chief anymore. I was one of the many people that thought he would be a Chief for his entire career, but didn't work out that way. It happens. So let's see what Brett Veach can do. He needs to hammer the draft. He needs to do very well with this draft. He needs to find the right guys and do well with at least half of those 8 picks he has in the first 4 rounds. So that's my stance there. But Tyreek Hill did not want to be in Kansas City anymore. He wanted the money.
Do you want to take this or do you want me to go?
Yeah, you can go.
So my thing with the whole Tyreek Hill is going to miss the Chiefs more than the Chiefs are going to miss Tyreek Hill. I don't know if that's true. I don't. And
hold on, you're saying Chiefs as a whole. I'm saying Patrick Mahomes.
okay, well, I don't think it matters.
Well, it goes hand in hand.
They go hand in hand. So my thing is that there are so many plays that are caused by Tyreek Hill, and there's so many plays the Chiefs have done that have been caused by Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it goes both ways, and that's why I think that statement and you basing it off those stats, which they do, they can be pretty compelling. But how many of those games did Tyreek Hill miss? It was like, what, 5 games?
5 total.
Yeah, so I mean that sample size is really, really small.
But look at where his stats were before Patrick Mahomes got there. In 33 career games, he had 14 touchdowns.
Yeah, but I mean that was under a totally different offense that didn't favor him at all. And you could say that this upcoming offense he's going to be in Miami is going to be very similar. But I think that now that Miami knows how Tyreek Hill can be successful in this league, they're going to find ways to do that. When Tyreek Hill kind of came into that Kansas City offense, yeah, they used him, but he wasn't the main focal point of that offense. I mean, and no one's going to deny that Patrick Mahomes is going to expand the capabilities of Tyreek Hill unlike anyone else.
Patrick Mahomes revamped the Chiefs offense when he entered.
Right, 100%. But Tyreek Hill is just as much a part of that as Patrick Mahomes was. Those two guys went hand in hand. I don't know if he's going to be able to roll out and chuck the ball 65 yards down the field, and there's going to be some guy running wide open down the field as much.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not as much. So I would be cautious with saying that. And I agree. The Chiefs are still going to be a playoff team. They can still very well win the AFC West. I'm obviously going to need look a little bit closer at those teams and what they're going to try and do before I make any conclusions. And I have several months, and there's obviously still the draft in which you mentioned. The Chiefs now have 8 picks in the top, 150?
135.
That's absurd.
They have 12 total picks.
Yeah. So
the one thing that sucks, though, it goes those 8 picks in the first 4 rounds, no 5th round pick, no 6th round pick, then 4 7s.
That's fine. And you can trade some of your 7s up for a 6th or a 5th.
That's what I would do. I'd package a couple 7 and move up into the 5th. That's what I would do.
So, I mean, these teams are nowhere near complete. I would be cautious to say that Patrick Mahomes / the Chiefs will miss Tyreek Hill less than Tyreek Hill is going to miss the Chiefs. It very well could be true, but it was said with supreme confidence, and I wouldn't be as confident as how you said it. And granted, you know way more about the Chiefs than I do. No, I'm not going to sit here and deny that.
I mean, it's like an in between. It could go either way. Both rely on each other. I mean, Patrick Mahomes can do things no other quarterback in the league can. We know that there's special to add there. Anyone that watches a single Chiefs game will be able to see him at least make one wow kind of play throughout a game. But a lot of those wow plays are to Tyreek. And when the plays break and Mahomes does his great ability to scramble, which he does better than just about anybody, get out of the pocket, just play some backyard football. So often it's Tyreek Hill that's good at scrambling and keeping a play alive and getting into a position where he can find an open spot on the field to help Mahomes be able to have a little relief option to give him the ball. And a lot of times when he gets that ball, he'll then take it for another 20 or 30, depending on the play. So I think that the two were a really good duo. They utilized each other's strengths extremely well. But I think that it's a toss-up, and we won't know who misses who more until we actually see the two on completely different teams. So it's just a premature statement as of right now, but I think it will be an interesting thing to be looking out for next season.
Trying to see how I want to phrase this. If you look at the Chiefs offense, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to play more disciplined, and I think that's a good thing. Relies on doing some of those bad scrambles and just chucking it downfield. That, I think, is going to help Mahomes grow. But it's not like the Chiefs have not gotten him another speedy guy. And it's not like I'm not trying to compare MVS. I'm not trying to compare Hardman to Tyreek Hill. I'm not trying to do any of that, and I never would. But what you have to realize is he's still got Travis Kelce, who's the best tight end in football. That's a different argument for a different time. If you guys want to get into it,
He
not
was
now.
last year. He was last year. Kittle hasn't been able to stay healthy the last 2 seasons, so
So-
I'm willing to entertain that for right now.
So still has Travis Kelce. Added Juju, who I think is going to have the best year of his career this year. Not going to have old Ben as his quarterback. MVS is going to get more targets, more volume because the most receptions he's had in a season is 38. Don't quote me on it.
Who?
MVS. I believe
Must
it's,
have saw the skin.
Yeah, I mean last
I
year he had
believe it's
like
38.
20 something.
Yeah, he doesn't get many targets. So I think that's going to help as well. But Patrick Mahomes, like you both said, can do things that no other quarterback can do. And that's where you have to trust him, and he will find the guys to make that play. I am not worried about Mahomes. My whole thing was saying Tyreek Hill will miss the Chiefs more is based off of Tua. You guys know I have zero faith in Tua. So it's not based on the skill of Tyreek Hill. Nothing like that. It's based off the play and what we have seen from Tua Tagovailoa so far in his career.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to deny the sentiment of what you're saying about Tua. But I'm telling you, he will be significantly better than his first 2 years.
He'll be better.
Well, it won't even be close.
He'll be better.
He'll be a borderline top 15 quarterback this upcoming year.
That clip is awesome.
What are you
Love
guys
seeing
talking
that.
about?
I sent you a video of the Buffalo Sabres game-winning goal tonight, in which the guy who shot the puck, his stick broke. It hit off the wall behind the goal. I'm sure there's some terminology for it. And it bounced in the goal. It like went behind the goal. He hit his skate and it went in the goal. It was incredible. And that was how they lost. The Blackhawks blew a 4-0 lead.
Well, yeah, and honestly, the funniest part about that video was just
Him
the
snapping his-
reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be frustrated
Snapping
if that's how my
his
team
stick.
lost. You kidding me? It's awful.
That's awesome. That's so funny.
But so yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are going to be just fine.
Yeah,
We'll
if you-
we'll see how far this move takes them.
Here's
The
the thing.
Dolphins.
I think that when you look at it, it'll be worth it in the sense of you can add MVS, potentially add Stephon Gilmore or James Bradbury at corner, which is what the Chiefs need to do is go out and get a corner. That'll help too. So, and adding 5 draft picks along with Juju as well on a cheap contract. So those things all come together by getting rid of Tyreek Hill if they all come to fruition. Not saying all of them are, but if they do, it makes a lot of sense. Plus, this gives the Chiefs a lot more flexibility in the cap for years to come to keep guys coming along to play with Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to stick with what I'm saying as of now, that I think Tyreek Hill will miss the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes more than, but Patrick Mahomes will miss Tyreek Hill based off of Tua and based off the raw talent that Patrick Mahomes has. Patrick Mahomes, I'm not going to say made Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill he's always had that skill. He's always had that potential before Mahomes got there. But Tyreek's Hill career skyrocketed when he and Mahomes linked up, and that offense became the way it was. Now, Mahomes is going to revamp the offense along with Reed and Bieniemy, and we'll see what happens. So I'm excited to see it. It's going to look weird. It's going to look really weird come week 1 when Tyreek Hill is in teal and orange in Miami instead of the red and gold in
Inferior
KC.
teal.
What?
Inferior teal colored team. Gotta say.
All right, guys, let's get into March Madness. We're about halfway through the show. St. Peter's, what a run. Dom, why is that your reaction?
I said, oh, the Peacocks.
Oh, I thought you said something else.
No. Shout out
Dom,
the
I want to
Peacocks.
throw it to you. Just explain the St. Peter's run for us and what you thought.
They got very fortunate. I mean, I'm gonna start off by saying that they were in the weak region, in terms of teams, but they got it done. This team valued defense over offense, which is oftentimes the teams that you see find these upsets because the defense is always going to show up of teams. It's whether or not the offense can exceed expectations. And if these teams play good defenses and they catch their opponents on an off day, like they found Kentucky, like they found Purdue, and like they found Murray State, that's when you see upsets truly in March Madness. And that's exactly what we saw from the Peacocks. Magical team. Doug Eater, legend. Casey Nadefo, also really good. Really good player. He won MAC Player of the Year. So this team coached by Shaheen Holloway, who was one of the best players on the 2000 Seton Hall team, who he's now going to go coach at Seton Hall after this magical run. It was really fun to watch. And, I mean, this team trailed by 6 with 3 minutes to go against Kentucky, the blue blood of the blue bloods. And they found a way to come back, and not only come back, but win that game in overtime, too. Super impressive. They faced a Murray State team who had only lost twice this entire year. Hadn't lost since December. They beat them. They faced a Purdue team that has a 7'4" center who is talented. Another 6'9" forward who is super talented as well and is actually a fairly good defender. They have a top 5 pick in the upcoming NBA draft and a couple other guys who can play on the wing and shoot. And St. Peter's beat them. It was truly impressive. I was shocked. I couldn't believe they beat Kentucky. Those teams normally fall flat in the second round when they have to turn around on one day's rest, but they didn't fall flat. They came out and they handled Murray State. And then going up against Purdue, a team that I just mentioned, super talented, they beat them. And Purdue had to have known they were no joke, but it didn't matter. So the Peacocks, they deserve all the credit in the world. Quite possibly the best Cinderella tournament run of all time.
Parker?
Yeah, no, I mean, tournament has been very eventful as usual. It's rare to find a year where there isn't, and this year was no exception, of course. But yeah, I mean, St. Peter's really did something special. First 15 to get to the Elite Eight. That's cool. I like to see historical stuff. We saw Oral Roberts almost did it last year. They fell short, so it was cool to see St. Peter's be able to represent the 15 seed, small mid-major schools, and get the job done. But yeah, stories like this are cool. I mean, especially with the NIL deals now, because I know Doug, he cashed in with that B-Dubs deal, so I don't know what the extent of what he got paid or whatnot. But it's big for, guys like that, if it wasn't for the NIL stuff, they wouldn't be getting paid a dime because at the end of the day, they still are playing for a small school. They did something special, but they wouldn't be able to capitalize on that run the way that they did. And it's not about the financial stuff. It's not about making the money because obviously they're making memories, they're doing really cool stuff and making history in the process. But I do think that was one of the cooler parts about them being able to do that. And we're going to see that more in the future with some of these other schools that are going to be in the spotlight and be able to showcase themselves and represent their schools. So it's just a really cool run to watch from them because they had some difficult matchups, like Dom mentioned, and they still found a way. And there just always seems to be that one team, that double-digit team, smaller school that just finds a way to beat these teams. And it's so cool because, you just don't – there's no other tournament in collegiate sports where you can see cool stuff like this, where you have Cinderella stories. And although I picked all the wrong Cinderella stories, I enjoyed watching them go on their run. So, yeah, it was fun to jump on the Peacock bandwagon, especially on National Peacocks Day.
Yeah, Dom, you mentioned defense. The one thing that stood out to me was that I believe the Peacocks held Purdue to their 3rd lowest scoring output of the season.
Let me look at that.
I may be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's the 3rd lowest because I know they only scored 58 against Michigan, and that was a blowout game on the road where they lost. And I think there's another game where they only scored like 61 or 62. But regardless, the defense that they played with, they out-hustled, they grinded you down. And I think that the team itself all fed off the energy of Doug Etter. And I think that, like you said, Dom, a national icon, his ability to be really a face of March Madness, I think fueled the team, but also their ability to work together. I think that the chemistry for that team was probably some of the best I've seen when playing on the court. And look what they did. They upset a Kentucky team that a lot of people had going to the Final Four.
You got it. It was 3.
Okay, that's what I thought. But a lot of people had Kentucky going to the Final Four. I was not one of them. They did beat my Final Four team in Purdue, but what they were able to do they set NCAA history. And that's what you want to see every tournament is more history, and that's exactly what you got. So, other storylines that stood out to you guys in the first couple weekends of March Madness.
Well, a storyline for me was in my coolest mascot bracket. I had a Final Four matchup of St. Peter's and Arkansas. And those two teams were each one win away from making that come true. And let me tell you guys, that would have been electric had that come through. But I think the biggest thing that's leading up is obviously Coach K in his final year. And this team looked dead in the water leading up into the NCAA tournament. Their defense had been falling apart. They looked fairly off balance against Cal State Fullerton. They did end up winning that game handedly, but for those who care, they didn't cover the spread. And it was a pretty tight game in the first half. So a lot of people were looking at Duke, questioning them when they were down by 5 with 3 minutes to go against Michigan State. And from that point on, they only missed one shot in the last 3.5 minutes of that game. Then they went on and handled a good Texas Tech team and then absolutely dismantled a good Arkansas team. So Duke's playing their best basketball of the year right now. And with the amount of talent that they have, that team's potential is so high. And right now, they're really close to reaching it. If they continue to play well, and obviously they're going to have to do so against their arch rival, Duke, UNC, Duke could be cutting down the nets in Coach K's final year. I think that's obviously the big storyline.
Yeah, no, I mean, that definitely is a storyline. Coach K, storied career, just one of the best basketball figures ever, hands down. So to see, this Duke team be able to go on a run and maybe have that, that perfect little ending, icing on top of the cake. It's kind of like, just first example that comes to mind, Peyton Manning. He retired after his career, winning a Super Bowl. That could be what it is for here with college basketball for Coach K. So for him to end after his career would be really cool. And just the narratives. I mean, man, we live in a simulation for it to be UNC, an 8 seed, a really good 8 seed, one that seemed slept on throughout conference tournament play, comes in as the 8, absolutely destroys Marquette, takes down Baylor, goes on this run, and here they are matched up with their rival in Duke, and they spoiled his final game at Cameron Indoor Stadium. So now all of a sudden he gets a chance to get revenge against them in the significantly more important game. Obviously, being able to play that final home game is really special. There's tears, lots of emotions running high, but this is a Final Four game to get to the championship. So it's significantly more important as far as what's at stake. So it just, you couldn't write it better. A Hollywood script would have this word for word. So regardless of what happens, I just hope it's a good game. And if the track record, which is a very storied one of the best rivalries, you can make the argument ever, their point differentials are unbelievably close. The wins between the two schools, neck and neck every single year. So I don't see at this point, knock on wood, that I just give the biggest jinx ever, and it sucks. But I don't see how that could be the case.
Sorry, I don't think Duke and UNC are listening to you and saying, "Oh, Parker said it's going to be a close game where, it's got to be a blowout. We're going to flip the coin before the game and see who wins."
I'm very excited for that matchup. I think it's the perfect way for Coach K to either beat the arch rival one last time or have the arch rival send him back. But I think that game's probably going to be one of the most viewed games in the history of sports, potentially, because of it's Coach K, the figure, one of the guys that's really built Duke basketball, and going against UNC, the rivalry that those two schools have. It's going to be an electric game, and I'm excited to watch that one in Vegas. So it'll be fun. But I'm going to switch up storylines. As a KU fan, I'm going to mention KU, but I'm going to mention former Arizona State star Remy Martin. Without Remy Martin, KU does not make it to the Final Four, and I think that's very evident. Against Creighton, he came up big. Against Providence, he came up big. He had 20 points. I believe it was 20 points against Creighton, the 23 against Providence. He was terrific in those two games. And, yeah, he only had 9 in the Elite 8 game against Miami, but his energy that he brought on defense really was terrific. And that's something that you never saw from him at ASU was defensive energy and his ability to be an impact player.
The energy was there. He's just so small.
The
didn't
energy
matter.
was always there. He was guarding guys full court the entire game.
Compared
Yeah.
to how he's played defense, I did not see
Oh.
Remy Martin play defense like he has
Give me a break.
in this month.
Jeez,
Mhm.
that's not true.
But
He may not be playing as well, but that's partly due to the fact that he was guarding guys full court press for the entire game all season, which, to Bill Self's credit, he's kept Remy intact, made sure he's healthy, and then he's been unleashed for this run to the Final Four, and he's been fantastic. Like
that's
you mentioned.
exactly what it was. He did rush Remy back. Remy had knee issues throughout the entire year. And I think it's funny because I have a lot of friends back home who go to KU, and they throughout the year were saying, Remy sucks, he's terrible. I was like, wait till he's healthy. And now they're all raving over him. I'm like, huh. I guess I know a little something.
What's up, baby?
I guess I know a little something.
Hmm.
But what he's been able to do without him, KU does not get to the Final Four. And I think that I made this comparison a while ago at the beginning of the month when KU won the Big 12 tournament. Remy Martin is this year's version of Malik Newman back from 2018. Do you guys remember that at all? Dom, you probably do.
I don't remember Malik Newman that well, but I mean, I know KU made the Final Four that year, and they got curb stomped in the Final Four.
Well, guess what? They're
Yeah,
not getting
I remember
curb
that
stomped this year.
part.
Revenge is on deck. But
Revenge. How many guys were on the team that year? Ochai Agbaji? No, he wasn't.
oh
Zero.
wait, no, Lightfoot and Christian.
Right, yeah,
Lightfoot
Lightfoot.
Christian.
Of course,
Of
Lightfoot was
course.
there. He was a sophomore that year.
Jeez.
Lightfoot's in his sixth year. Yeah,
Good Lord.
this is it for Lightfoot. He's going out a champ, hopefully.
Kerry
But
Ellis and Mitch Lightfoot.
My goodness. What
But-
are we doing here,
Dinosaurs.
guys?
Malik Newman was kind of underwhelming throughout the year in 2018. Then once March hit, he caught fire in the Big 12 tournament and was a key piece in the Final Four run. That's what Remy Martin's done. Now, hopefully, KU gets over that hump and gets the national championship and gets their first title since 2008. That's the ultimate hope. But overall, Remy Martin's been huge, and it's been very refreshing to see him show what he had shown at ASU.
Yeah, here, I'll read off Malik Newman's point totals throughout the year, starting on January 20th. 24, 20, 15, 13, 16, 4, 14, 17, 11, 20, 12, 9, 7, 30. We're now in March. 22, 20, 10. So we're in the tournament now. 10, 28, 17, 32 against Duke in that fantastic game. And
That was a
21.
terrific game.
So, I mean, yeah, his performance in March was,
Tremendous.
he was unbelievable.
And and it's so funny because that Duke game, I was over at a friend's house, and his play is kind of overshadowed by that Svi 3 with about 25 seconds left. Sviatoslav Mikhailuk. I miss Svi. He was awesome. But yeah, he was lights out from 3.
Shot 44% from 3 that year.
But
It's NBA numbers.
Remy Martin has really brought the energy for ASU and has been clutch. And I'm excited to see what KU can do against Nova. Revenge season is on deck.
Yeah.
But
And I was told this by Gabe Schwartz today. Every time KU and Villanova have faced off in the NCAA tournament, the winner has gone on to win the national title.
Cool.
trying to think. I think that's true. I'm going to trust Gabe on it.
2008, KU beat Villanova.
Yep.
And then Villanova beat them in 2016
Yes,
and in
that is true.
2018.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's 100% correct. But we just talked about Final Four teams, so let's give some predictions. I want to hear both of y'all's predictions for the Final Four coming up this weekend, and then the national championship next Monday.
I think UNC beats Duke. I do.
Woo!
I mean, you're acting like it's a hot take.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Happened a couple weeks ago. Caleb Love, I think right now is the best player in this tournament. He has been unbelievable. And it all really started in that second half against UCLA when he's put up 27 points. He's been fantastic. He's going to be the key player because Duke's got so much size and so much talent. But the defense has been pretty gettable for some of these opposing teams. So watch out for Caleb Love. I think they could beat Duke.
Yeah, no, I'm on board with that too. A lot of people are saying like it could be an uphill climb because officials might kind of want Duke to win. I don't know about that. I mean, maybe, but I think that UNC has enough talent to where even if there are some questionable calls, I think they can still come out on top. I think that they've proven it all year. They've been so underrated. They seemed like such a good 8 seed. That was probably the most comfortable I felt ever for an 8 versus 9. And they've just wiped the floor. It's crazy to think they almost blew it against Baylor, 25-point lead when Manic had been ejected. Things were falling apart, and all of a sudden, maybe they wouldn't have been in this spot right now. But here they are. I think that they're battle tested. I think that crazy games like that are good for you because it shows you can win these close games. It shows that you know how to close out games when things aren't going your way. And I think that builds character. So I think that that's a team that's going to be able to get it done, and 2 very good teams. So could go either way, but I kind of have a feeling with UNC this year. Me and a buddy back home who is a big UNC fan, we've been talking about it throughout the tournament. He said it before the Baylor game, like that's a really good UNC team. I could see him beating Baylor, and I was kind of like, yeah, I think they probably could, and here they are. So nothing shocks me at this point.
All right, you guys predicted one side of it. What about the other side?
Yeah, I think KU handles Villanova. It's a bad matchup for Villanova because KU's got a lot of size. They got a lot of speed. And those are the two things Villanova does not handle very well, given their lack of depth and their lack of height. Their guards are tall, but down low, don't got a whole lot. And also, Justin Moore
Big loss.
tore his Achilles. He's probably their second best player behind Gillespie. So their already lack of depth is probably really going to show. And if KU just keeps it close the entire way, they can really pull away. Late, I think they're going to win handily, though, probably by 8-10 points.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for that injury, I would probably go with Nova. I like what Jay Wright does. I like what he brings. And with Gillespie being in the tournament this year after getting injured right before last year's tournament, I just like the experience that those guys have. And Kansas obviously has tons of experience as well. But I would have liked them. But because of that, that's a big loss. You can't understate the impact that Moore would have in a game like that. Kansas is the bigger team. We saw them bully Miami down low. Miami had absolutely no solution for it. And even when they were up in the first half, going into halftime, it just felt like, man, if Kansas just keeps going down low, they're not going to be able to stop it. And I think that if they want to win this game, which I think they probably will, it's going to be from getting it down low because they've got some big bodies. They've got depth. They bring in guys, and they bring so much at you, and you really just have to catch them on an off night if you want to be able to come away with it. I can see it being a close game even with that injury because a lot of times when guys do go down, we kind of see these teams, rally the troops. There's a little more motivation on the line. Obviously, you're competing for a championship. You shouldn't need more motivation, but it does help a little bit when one of your brothers out there gets hurt and he can't play and all he can do is watch. So I think that, they're going to go out there. It's going to be a hell of a game. So I am leaning towards Kansas because of that injury. But, there is an argument said that the injury could bring something out of Nova that maybe we wouldn't have had before. So we'll see.
Yeah, for my Duke UNC game, I'm going to go with Duke. I think they're going to get revenge from Coach K's final game at Cameron Indoor. So I think that he'll get his revenge, send UNC packing one last time. So Duke will go to the national championship. And then I have KU beating Nova. And Dom, you described it. The athleticism, the speed, the transition offense where KU can really push the tempo a lot. I think that's going to be a difference along with the size advantage. And David McCormack was fantastic against Miami. Once he got the ball in the second half, he helped change the dynamic of that game. And look what happened. KU went on a long run, outscored Miami 47-15 in the second half. So they got the ball down to David McCormack, and they let him work. KU's going to have an advantage down low due to the size and strength of McCormack. So I'm going to take KU in that. So does this mean you guys have North Carolina, KU in the championship, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Who do you guys have winning?
KU.
I don't know.
You don't have to give them the satisfaction that I just did.
No,
I don't need satisfaction.
either way, I'm kind of leaning towards UNC as it is. But either way, I guess I could play devil's advocate. But I do think UNC can though. I think that they've been so hot at the right time. I mean, starting from having a really underrated conference play, they weren't ranked until that Duke win. They get that win, all of a sudden, okay, they're going to be in this tournament. What's their seeding going to be? Oh, they got an 8. Okay, all right. And they just ran the gauntlet. They just took care of business against everybody they were faced with. And, not the most talented region, not the most difficult of matchups, obviously, with St. Peter's being their last one, the Elite Eight. But this is a really good team. Dom's mentioned it multiple times. The guard play is fantastic. They got the bigs down low.
Armando.
They can, get the job done. And I think that they can kind of match the size that Kansas has. I don't like them as far as like favoring them in that matchup in that regard as far as the bigs go. But I think that the big thing is just kind of neutralizing it, just being competitive down low. They know how to go get some offensive boards. That is the DNA of UNC if I've ever seen it. Offensive rebounds, rebounding. They're just very fundamentally sound. They know how to play basketball, and especially in the tournament. They're one of the most consistent tournament teams in the last decade and a half since we've been watching college basketball. So what you see is what you get with this team. So although it's not Roy Williams at the helm, I trust that this group of guys can get it done. But it would be a really fantastic game. And I got to say, the irony would be that, this was such a crazy year like always. We have St. Peter's as a 15 in the Elite Eight. Got all these crazy situations. We have an 8 seed in the finals if this does happen. And only for a 1 seed to still end up winning. But it'll be a good one.
I have KU Duke. I'm going to go KU. I think that you guys have heard me say it multiple times that this has been KU's best chance to win a title in years. I didn't think in 2018 they were going to make that Final Four run and have a chance. I never thought that.
And
2020 did not have that tournament canceled. Then that was their best opportunity to win. But this is a Jayhawks' best opportunity to win in years. And I think they're going to take advantage of that. And I'm going to go back to it. Having Remy Martin come off the bench. If he can continue his play that he's had throughout this tournament, there's the difference maker right there. Along with Ochai Agbaji getting into a rhythm. KU struggled to do that. Got him into one a little bit against Miami in the second half, but got to get him into a rhythm more often, I would say. Jalen Wilson has also been terrific on the boards and scoring. So I think KU is going to come away national champions. You can call me biased, whatever. I don't really care what your opinions are on this. I think KU is going to win the national championship.
You've never been one to care for people's opinions on sports takes involving your teams.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Hey, they are hungry after USC stomped them last year. So
USC did stomp them
that was
last year.
Ugly.
And Dom and I had that. We had
I
that in
mean,
our brackets.
it didn't take like a bracketologist or a college basketball expert to say, ooh, a Kansas team that's been fairly consistent all year going up against the
Really
second
underrated USC.
They're going up against the second best player in the country with some other tall guys. But yeah,
Last year was bad.
Tallest
and
team in
then
the
State-
nation.
KU's team returned just about everyone. They brought in a couple of guards who can shoot the ball and facilitate the game. KU's really good. They were my pick before the season started. I backed off it, but then over the last couple of weeks, they really got me back on it. That's why I have them winning it all in my bracket. And they've been super impressive, and they've obviously got a great coach at the helm. That's always something that's important.
I have stayed consistent on my thought that KU is going to win it this year. And I think that I go back to the addition of Remy Martin. I know that he wasn't huge in the regular season just because he was injured throughout it, but adding that depth along with Ochai Agbaji becoming that All-American, Christian Brown taking a huge step, Jalen Wilson coming off of his DUI suspension and being a formidable guy in the rotation. So I've stuck with it. This is KU's best opportunity to do so, and I think they'll get it done. So that's where I stick on that. Guys, do you have anything you want to add before we end this episode of the 4-3 show?
Nope.
Dom?
I got nothing now.
Really? You're going to be quiet for once?
This is an outlandish statement.
Is it?
You just muted my mic.
Yeah, I did. I don't want to. I did not know what you were going to say there, so I was like,
That was an outlandish statement. I feel like I'm generally pretty quiet.
not really.
I will say this: we're not sure if we're going to record next Monday, given it is the national championship game.
Yeah, we already know that Pat is down to not come because he never wants to come to our show.
That was awesome last week when you're like, "Hey Pat, what do you think about not recording?" Yes.
Yeah. Pat does not like being on our show.
That's not true. He doesn't like coming down here for the show.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So he's basically just lazy.
You said it. Hi Pat, if you're listening.
Pat, if you're listening, you're lazy. So next week is TBD. I don't think we're going to record just because the national championship falls in between
You guys are going to be
that time frame.
exhausted from Vegas too.
That is true.
Let's just give it to him straight. We're not recording.
Yeah.
We don't need to dance around.
We're not.
the
Let's
subject.
stop beating around the bush and just face it. Yeah, we're not recording next week. So we will see you guys in 2 weeks. We're going to enjoy the national championship. Hopefully KU comes out as champions. But everyone, have a great rest of your night. Thank you for tuning in.